credit to our faculty and staff, to our current parents, to our students, and to the prospective families that are joining us. I hope you get a sense of what makes TJ special through the application process, but also today, as you're going to hear directly from the people who are interacting with the program the closest, and that's our current students, current parents. Um, I think TJ is, I'm very biased, but TJ is a special place. It has meant a lot to me personally, and to see it help grow students into the leaders that they become later on in life has just been one of my highlights of being here. I'm Dr. Troutman. I'm head of school here at TJ. I have been head of school for 2 years, since July of 2020, but this is year 11 for me here at TJ. I started teaching math and science, and since then have been fortunate enough to have this position to help guide the school through and hopefully past the COVID time. So with that, what is the purpose for today? Today, we're going to hear a couple of questions that we have gathered already, and we're going to pose these to both students and to current parents. And then we're going to have a little bit of time for our faculty and staff to introduce themselves who've joined today. And then we're going to do a choose your own adventure afterwards. Mrs. Troutman will clarify as we get ready to go into that session, but we'll essentially split up into a student panel and an adult or parent panel. And you can answer more questions, ask anything that you weren't able to share ahead of time. And hopefully we'll be able to share some great things about TJ. So with that, I'm going to go back on mute, and then I will throw it over to Mrs. Troutman to start us through the questions that we have gathered already.
Great. Well, thank you, Dr. Troutman. And yes, thank you everyone for coming. I did want to say, if you didn't hear at the beginning, this meeting is going to be recorded, just so that you are aware. So yeah, we're going to start off with our mostly questions for our students that we have joining us today. And students, I'm going to throw you some questions. And prior to when you first answer, please make sure you say your name and what grade you are currently in at TJ, just so everyone knows. So, all right, I'm going to start us off. Our first question. This one is about making friends at TJ. So we all know TJ is a small school. You know, you'll maybe have about 10 or so people in your grade. When you arrived, or as you're going through your career at TJ, did you find it easy to make friends with people in your grade and also outside your grade? And were there opportunities to do that? And do you have multiple friend groups? And I want to hear from Val first. Val, if you can give us your perspective, and then anyone else who wants to add on, please feel free to do so.
Okay. Hi, my name is Val. I'm a freshman, ninth grader. My pronouns are she, her. And I think TJ is a really nice school. It's really small, as Mrs. Troutman said, but everybody's really friendly. When I first came to TJ, I'm a boarder, by the way. I was really scared about not making friends. I was really scared about, I don't know. I was really anxious about it. But everybody was really friendly, and everybody welcomed me. And people from all grades said hi and asked me where I'm from, and tried to make me feel welcome. And they did. It was really nice. And I feel like because it's a small school, everybody's friends with everyone. I have friends that are seniors and middle schoolers, and everyone is friends with everyone, and they don't just close to their grades. They just try to make everyone feel welcome, like they would want to feel.
I cannot add on to that. Hi, I'm Greta. I'm an 8th grader, and my pronouns are also she, her. So in TJ, it might seem that middle schoolers and high schoolers would be really hard to associate themselves with each other, but it's actually not that hard, because while we do have different classes, there's something called a buddy system, which is actually really helpful in the middle school environment. It's where upperclassmen, such as juniors and seniors, are paired with 7th and 8th graders. So that can provide a helping hand, or someone, if you need to reach out to someone for advice, like what's high school all about? What's the deal with that, right? You can always reach out to them. It's preparing you for that high school feeling, and it just makes you feel ready. It makes you feel like you have someone else that can help you in the world besides the people that are in your grade, although everyone is friends in your grade. And I know Hannah and Zeke can also add to that if they would like.
I'd like to, oh, hi, I'm Carter. I'm a current junior, he, him. So, and I've been here since 7th grade. But one thing that, one other divide you might think exists, but doesn't, is between day students and boarders, right? We're about 50-50. But really, there's so many different ways that day and boarding communities can combine. One thing that jumps to mind is I'm on SAC, the Student Activities Committee. And what we do is we plan a lot of events outside of the, regular curriculum for students. So in the past, we've had season tickets to the Repertory Theater of St. Louis. We go to a lot of shows and performances, and those are open to all students, on Friday nights and Saturday nights. So it's a really great way for people from all different grades and, day students and boarding students to, spend an evening together, get to know each other. And they're really fun events. So there's a lot of crossing over between boarding and day communities as well.
I would say too, and Carter, you made me think of this because you're in my advisory group. Advisory is another place where students of all ages mix, and it becomes a kind of family within the family. And I see, I see a lot of my younger advisees looking to older students like Carter, and being able to look ahead at what leadership opportunities exist, for example, or that just gives them a sense of having more resources for help with work, but also a sort of social comfort with students who are older.
And Mrs. Roth, that actually sets us up pretty nicely for our next question. I wanted to ask the panelists tell us a little bit about your advisory groups and what makes them unique. And maybe Hannah or Zeke, do either of you want to start us off with that?
I can start off. I'm Hannah. I'm in 7th grade, and my pronouns are also she, her. So my advisory group is, well, Mrs. Perney is advisory, but yeah, she's not here. And there's a very nice sense of community in it because everyone's so friendly with each other, and it's also really fun because Greta and I are in the same advisory, but because it's like I guess it's just fun to be with their advisory because my advisory likes to laugh and make jokes, and it's just a really nice thing to have. It's like kind of like another family, I guess. Yeah, it's just really nice.
I'm Zeke. I'm in 7th grade. My pronouns are he, him. And my advisory is more, it's like kind of different than Hannah's. It's like we all know each other, but outside of the meetings, we don't really interact too much. Well, we do interact a lot, but it's not like the sense of community that Hannah has with her advisory, where Mrs. Proney takes them out for like laser tag or something.
I'd say as an older student, Mrs. Roth is my advisor, so I'll stick with her. But I spend lots of time in her office, talking over things. I'm just about classwork in general. Sometimes I just go up there to vent. It's a very helpful community for me, and kind of a parent on campus, if you will. I'm saying that with my mother also in the Zoom meeting, but it's a good group. It's kind of your family, your family at school. Yeah.
Great. Well, I wanted to touch on a little bit of what Carter was speaking to earlier about making friends, and he mentioned Student Activities Committee, which is the group or the events committee that plans lots of stuff for us to do. So maybe this might be a good question again to start off maybe with Val. What are some things that, let's talk about the boarding community first. What are some things that you all do for fun on the weekends or maybe on the long breaks?
Oh, so we get a bunch of activities to keep ourselves busy other than homework, of course. We usually go to Target and the mall and the Loop. That's pretty fun. Also, I know some people play basketball. I'm not particularly a big fan of it, but they just get together and play. And we have Uno games and Monopoly and stuff. So that's pretty fun. And what else? Oh yeah, we have gone to museums before and SAC events. And that's mostly what we do to keep ourselves busy. We just hang out with each other all the time.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point too, Greta. Greta, do you want to talk now about kind of what day students, what y'all do on the weekend as well, and then maybe lead us into some extracurricular activities and clubs that you might be a part of?
Yeah, so day students can also come to campus on the weekends, so we don't have to sit at home and like Zoom a boarder student if you can, unless you're like on vacation or something. So like I know I took Val in for a night when she was going to go to the airport the next morning, so that was really fun. And you can socialize with each other, so that really, like Carter was saying earlier, there's a lot of crossover between day student and boarder student, and those day students that can drive, Carter, I know they have a lot of freedom with like taking boarders to, I don't know, Sonic or Chick-fil-A or something. And then also over the weekends on Sundays, there's robotics. So I'm not in robotics, but I know Val is. And day students come to robotics at like 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. I don't even know, it's really early, a lot of commitment. And they build robots and they're doing something, world domination maybe, just they build robots. They do that in the little basement, it's fun. But they come to campus and I know they have a lot of fun. And then like I'm in the declaration, so is Carter, and we write articles and it gets published every month. And I love seeing my name just printed under, like I do the recipes. So I love seeing like cookies, Greta Stuckey. And that just makes me feel so special in the community.
I love laying out cookies, Greta Stuckey. It's always a highlight. Introduce yourself, Ben.
So hi, I'm Ben. I'm his brother. My pronouns are he, him. I am a freshman right now, and I joined in 7th grade. So one thing I do is I'm on the varsity basketball team right now, which is in the winters, it's a lot of time and it's great fun for me. We're not as, because it's a really small school, we're not as hyper competitive as other schools, which just allows for, to build a great community and have a lot of fun there. We win a lot too. So.
Carter, do you want to talk a little bit about the leadership opportunities with clubs?
Sure. Yeah. So despite our small size, we have a lot of clubs on campus, as I'm finding out now because I'm the editor of the yearbook. And just yesterday I was laying out the club pages for the yearbook and I realized I did not have enough room for all the clubs because we had more than I thought. So we have lots of clubs on campus. It's really easy to start a club. We've had many clubs started just this year. And then the clubs, the big emphasis is on students running them, right? So there will be a faculty advisor for every organization, but the students are the one who really should be. The students are the ones who really take charge and run the whole deal. So I'm big into the publications. I'm the editor of both the newspaper and the yearbook. So I really enjoy those opportunities. But there are a lot of leadership opportunities that you can get to the clubs, and because we're not huge, you get those leadership opportunities maybe in freshman or sophomore year. So it'd be instead of just maybe seniors leading everything as you get into bigger schools. So it's kind of the best of both worlds in my view for that. Yeah.
Nice. Well, so just I want to make sure that we have time to hear from our parents actually. So I still have questions for students, but I'm going to kind of move on to, I want to hear from our parents, and then we'll go back and finish up with 1 or 2 more questions from our students. But right now, what I'd really like to hear from each of our parents is a simple question: why TJ? And so maybe Amanda Cashin, if you want to start us off, and then maybe each of our parents who are here, if you want to follow up with that, and remember to please say your name and then the grades that your students are in. That would be great.
All right, hi, I'm Amanda Cashin. So Carter and Ben both joined when they were in 7th grade and now are in 9th and 11th. And, you know, we chose TJ because the academic program was just so outstanding. We loved the international exposure our kids would get with the boarding students, and just that even though it's a small community, it's super diverse and real diversity of points of view and life experiences. But I mean, I guess most of all, though, when each of them just desperately wanted to go to TJ, and we've certainly found that it's a community of students who really want to be there and want to learn and take their academics seriously and treat each other really well and enjoy the close relationships with the teachers. So they knew, even at, you know, as the age as 11 and 12-year-olds, that was the right place for them to be, and they were right then, and we've been so grateful for the education and experience they've been getting there.
Okay, hi, I'm Kaisa Stuckey. I have 3 children at TJ. Greta is one of mine. I have currently a junior, a freshman, and an 8th grader. They all joined in 7th grade. And when I was prepping for this, there's 3 things that came to mind. As Amanda mentioned, I felt like we didn't have a choice. The kids chose this school. They visited and they said, this is where we belong. And with our oldest, Charlie, he actually, at that time, TJ was still doing early decision. He knew as a 6th grader well enough that this is where he belonged, that he said, let's do early decision. And this is where I want to go no matter what. And then with the next ones, we really encouraged them to look out and really very strongly consider the other offers. But they all chose TJ. So if you have a kid who says, this is where I go, listen to them, because it is excellent and they do know. Related to that, the best way that you get to know what TJ is about is by sitting in one of the classes. I still remember, so this would have been 6 years ago, sitting in Mr. Roth's. What grade does he do The Great Gatsby? I think 11th grade.
11th.
In that class. And I remember thinking, like, this is what grad school is about. This is not what high school kids usually do. This is how people, even the way that they interact with each other, how the teachers treat them. It is something much more of an intellectual equal than, they never have lectures. They don't get lectured to, and that's a different environment to grow up in intellectually. That makes a different person. So that was my point 1. Kids chose it. The second thing is, you cannot get a more global school in St. Louis than TJ. I am a proud immigrant, and I have never seen a more global, a school that prepares a global citizen, not just a St. Louis local school. So if you like that, if that's, I know for me, my kids, the world is their oyster. It doesn't matter where they end up going. TJ will prepare them no matter what. And then not to, beat the dead horse here, but I feel like the big thing for most parents that I know I've spoken to, they say, well, but it's so small, I don't know what this is going to be. I would turn it around. The small size can be an obstacle, but it is absolutely an opportunity. And the reason why I say this is, I went to a school like this, and I didn't go to TJ, but I went to a very similar boarding school in the UK. And the small class size really prepares you so well you have nowhere to hide. I had 4 kids in my economics class, and you have to be prepared. You have to be able to, volley back and forth all the time. And that, that high school experience prepares you to play intellectual hardball in college, where actually it matters. In high school, it doesn't matter. In 7th grade, even better, that you get to do this, very vigorous debate style, teachers learning. So, and I will add, this is my last point, that no matter where you end up going, TJ will prepare you. And again, I'm saying this having gone through this tract, not through TJ, but something very, very similar. The academic strength that TJ or a small school like this has, and the intellectual curiosity that TJ encourages, creates this atomic bomb of a kid that comes out, takes every opportunity, really advocates for themselves. Since 7th grade, I don't know what the kids do. When they need something, they go and they talk to their teachers and advisors. So I have never, I've never been in that same similar environment for high school. I worked so hard. I didn't work half as hard in college, and I felt I was prepared. So having 4 kids in my econ class in high school, that prepared me to go and study econ at an Ivy League. And by the way, get a cum laude graduation. I didn't work half as hard. I mean, it's just that having that, 4 kids versus 140 really prepares you so well. So kids chose it, global school, and the small size, really take advantage of it. This is a strength. So that's it. Thank you.
Well, everybody pretty much spoke everything I wanted to say. But I want to add though, because the school is so small, everybody is really kind. That was my biggest part that I agreed to send our children. By the way, I'm a mom to 3 TJ students. One is in 9th grade with Ben, and 2 of them are in 7th grade, Hannah and Zika, here right now. They are really happy. Everybody is nice to them. If something is going on, teachers there to help them talk about it, as opposed to excluding somebody, or it's all the middle school stuff. But I don't really see that happening at TJ at all. Of course, there are some disagreement happening sometimes, but mostly they can talk about it, they can solve it, they make up so that they can live in a small community together and be peaceful together. So that was a big part of me agreeing to choose TJ for them, on top of the diversity and academics that you guys are very strong about. So that's where I am.
Yes, hi everybody. Nice to meet you. I'm Estefania. I'm Val's mother. She's in 9th grade right now, and she's a freshman. And we're from Mexico, so she's boarding a 7-day international boarder at TJ, and this is our first year as boarders and TJ. And I would like to add why TJ. First of all, well, she was always studying here with us and living here with us at Mexico. So it was very important for us that it was like an extension of our family. We want a small school and a more personalized school where we can call at any time to any teacher and they will answer the phone if Val needs something, or we were like missing our daughter or she was sick, and that was very important. Not like a very big school, so that she feels this change of living far away from home. So first of all, that was the first one. And the academic program, we were looking for several schools. We were looking at Niche, for example, and TJ, besides it's a very small school, has very good evaluations, a very good rating in every step. I think maybe the one it will be the sports, but in everything, TJ was above the other schools, the other boarding schools that peers for us, and that was the option for us. We love then when we decide that Val goes, and since the day we leave her at TJ with Dr. T, and we met everybody the day that we have to leave Val. And everyone is so nice, and they were so kind with us and with her. So the first week, she feel like really she was like in her second home. And right now, I don't know which one is the second home, if our house or TJ, because she's so happy to be there. She feels so comfortable. All the persons in the staff, Mrs. Adet, Dr. T, Mrs. Correa, Mr. Steer that lives just the next door from Val. Everybody has been so nice and so helpful for us to live this experience as our first year at a boarding school. Also, I know maybe we'll talk about, you've been talking about the academics and all the programs. It's very important that we have like small details that for me as a mom, it's very important. And I remember I didn't like that they share bathrooms. It was like an issue for me that they have to go outside their bedroom and go to a bathroom and everything. And I was like, oh my God, and what if something happens in the way? And that little details that the dorms are very comfortable. They have all what they need. They're very secure. They have their bathroom inside. They have to share with a roommate, for like a parent, besides the academics and all the things. I think that's the little details that help to make this decision and have, for me, it's like more comfortable with that. Also, that diabetes that we have at TJ, they are students all around the world, from China, from Korea, from India, and that they have this local and all the day students that they have like this life in St. Louis and live in the city the way it is and the way the locals live, but with a global environment too in the daily life at TJ. Of course, the preparation for college is very important. And I think that what I'm discovering right now is that you have more advanced classes even than in college. When I speak we have a lot of friends here and families that have their kids abroad and in other boarding schools or even in college. And when we speak, what classes is she taking? And when I say, okay, Algebra 2, and it's like, oh, my son, that it's a senior is taking Algebra 2, wife, Val, that is freshman. I don't know, she's struggling, but she's getting there, and she's so happy to learn like these advanced classes. So when she is here in Mexico, like right now, she's in Mexico with us for the spring break. And I noticed that she's talking with her friends that are abroad too, and another one that they are leaving next year for their first year. This comes around like, no, at TJ, really the classes are above the medium of it make the best decision at TJ. And I don't know, she's very happy just you just have to see her face there, and she feels like she lives in a very big community and very big family.
Thanks, Estefania. I think you're breaking up a little bit at the end there, but thank you so much for that. Yeah, and thank you from all of our parents. I want to try to keep us on a little bit of a track here. So before we're going to go to breakout rooms in just a second here. And so if any questions you might have come up while we were talking, or maybe there's something you want to hear more about, that will be your chance to get those questions answered. But before we move on to that, I want to spend maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and I want to hear from Mr. Steer about our college counseling program. Maybe Mr. Steer, if you want to just give us the short but sweet description, and also kind of discuss what you're doing with not just our juniors like Carter, but also our middle schoolers as well.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. By virtue of our size and by virtue of the academics that that Amanda mentioned, and Carter mentioning all the leadership opportunities at school, by virtue of these things, we're able to do some really extraordinary things in college counseling, things that frankly are not possible for other even independent schools. And it really comes down to the way that we really get to know our students. I'm a college counselor. That's my main role, but I also teach senior English, which means that when Carter is back in the fall, I'm the guy who's his editor for his college essays. We do that right in senior English. But I also live on campus. I'm Val's house parent here. I live on campus with my family, and I coach soccer, and I'm an advisor. So what this means is I get to see my students in so many different aspects of their life. We get a full view of our students inside the classroom, of course, and outside the classroom. And what this helps us do is really advocate for them effectively. If you've ever read a letter of recommendation, which our students can never read them because they're confidential, but if you ever could read them, they are the most effective letters because they speak to the qualities and characteristics of what really make our students so outstanding. But it also helps us in terms of being able to recommend colleges, making lists, and also in making connections. Today I met with an alum from last year who's at WashU, who's helping to advise some of our seniors and juniors. These kinds of opportunities are really unique even in the landscape of independent school college counseling. So, but just one more point. I know you said short but sweet, but I'm a college counselor and there's no such thing. But the one thing I would be remiss if I weren't to mention is that while Carter and Kaisa both spoke about the expectations on students. This is like grad school. We expect a lot of our students. And in the college process, it's the same. I don't simply draft a list and say, these are the colleges that you are applying to, and this would be a good major for you. We're partners through this process. We expect our students to become drivers in the plans that they make. And what that means is they become invested in their own academic development from grade 9 when we in middle school, and we really start meeting and working on their academic plan and their extracurricular plan, but all the way through high school. This is the work, the subtle work that's going on behind the scenes, not just academic preparation, but the why and what's motivating me and where am I going to take this? And so through the college process, our students are really expected to do some of the research and really connect meaningfully through critical self-reflection of why they're making the plans they're making. And what I found in that process is, students are really more invested in the process. They make better decisions. And ultimately, it's not just about getting into the college, but thriving once they do get into college. And our graduates do just that. But I've got the easiest job in the school in many ways because I've got really extraordinary students, and I just need to make sure that they find places that they're happy with. I say to the colleges that come visit us, you have it made when you visit us, because literally every one of our students is admissible at almost every institution, highly selective institution in the country, and we have a diverse demographic represented socioeconomically, internationally, everything. So you come to TJ, we got it all. Take your pick of some of the best students around, basically. But anyway, Carter, we're working together, huh?
That's right. And I know we're on a schedule, but I just wanted to say, right now we're in Washington, D.C., actually, on looking at colleges. And just earlier today, we got back from Johns Hopkins, which was a school that Mr. Steer really pressed me to look at. So that was very exciting. So there's a very recent example of the college counseling process in action.
excited to hear about that, Carter. Thanks.
Can I just connect a thread that I've been thinking about as I've heard our parents and Mr. Steer speak as well. And it occurs to me I didn't introduce myself properly before. My name is Jane Roth. I'm the associate head of school. I'm also Ben's English teacher, Zeke and Hannah's Latin teacher, Greta's Latin 2 teacher. I'm a graduate of the school myself, and 2 of my daughters have graduated from TJ. So I feel like I can put on my TJ parent hat as I think about Kaisa's comment about the size of the school and the distinct advantages that the size creates. When we think about college preparation here at TJ, it's not just the academics, which are phenomenal. It's the dorms that Estefania described, right? It's the fact that that even the day students share space in the dorms with the boarding students and will, as Mayuko said, butt heads with their roommates sometimes as they're learning how to negotiate over whose turn it is to take out the trash or to listen to music while we study, or all of those sorts of discomforts that can come with sharing space with other human beings. I mean, it can be hard enough to share space with your own family, and then you're thrust into a room with strangers, and you've got to learn to navigate that stuff. And part of the function of the size is that it really means that the students have to learn how to maintain relationships and work through those conflicts in really mature ways. So that's just a distinct part of the program that I wanted to make sure to mention, because I experienced it myself, and I feel that it really helped me be ready for that next stage of my education. And I've seen both of my daughters benefit from it as well. So thanks.
Awesome. That's a great note to end the panel on. So now I am going to create our 2 rooms, and I'm going to label them so that we know which one to join. And so you should be able to join the one that applies. So let's see if this works. I'm going to open all rooms. And so we'll just split off now and into these rooms, and then we can kind of do a Q&A. For those of you who would like to jump off, feel free to leave at this time. But if those of you who have some questions, feel free to go into these rooms.